let me go back a bit. To find product market fit, it's not a black or white kind of situation as I found it. It's more of a spectrum. It's, you'll have, KPIs or metrics that you would look into and say like, okay, we have product market fit. But at the same time, you don't really feel it. I mean, you see like, okay, we're building what we think will solve a problem, but it's not really that thing. So it's always a spectrum. So what they did, they've sent a survey that had a couple of questions, but the most important question was about, how the user will feel if they wouldn't use Superhuman anymore. So the question sounds something like, how would you feel if you wouldn't use ArchBee anymore? Somewhere along those lines. And you have three questions.
I love that question because you get the true fans of your product.
Yeah. And you put the person in the context of thinking, hey, okay, do I want to use this app? Should I use this app? I mean, it changes the mindset when you address this question. And I've heard this after I've sent the survey and went on some calls with some customers. Some of them were like, what was that email about? Are you closing down the business? I mean, it really puts them in a interesting, at least, state of mind. Like, what's that about? Are you?
Yeah.
So it's a really powerful question. That's what I'm trying to say. So you have these three answers: very disappointed, somehow disappointed, and not at all. Mm-hmm. And after that, you have some follow-up questions. Depends on anybody else that wants to run the survey. Something like, what is the main benefit of ArchBee that you would find? Secondly, what type of people do you think would benefit from ArchBee? And usually, this is an open question. They would usually identify with the job description, job function that they add here. It's an open text question, but they usually would write something that's related to them. So instead of asking them like, what's your job title, which you should already know by then, you ask them like, what is the larger audience that you think will benefit? And finally, something like, what do you think we could improve on the product? There are multiple questions that you can ask, but these are the 4 ones that I've sent. So after that, okay, like any other survey, it's great. We have data. What do you do with it? So that's where I think this framework really helped at least part of my activities as a marketer, because I took the answers, and of course you'll have, random answers there, but somehow a benchmark would be like, if you have 40% of the users would actually be very disappointed, you've kind of hit product market fit, because that's almost half of the user base, right? So if half of your user base is actually very disappointed if they wouldn't use ArchBee, it means that you're basically, doing something good. And the people that are using the product are the ones that you actually want. But what happens in a startup is that you don't have 40%.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Realistically, you're probably 10 to 20% maybe?
Yeah, around 20%. At least that's, based on all the users that have replied to this survey. To the survey. In my case, it was around 20-something%, right?
Okay.
Which is more or less similar to what it was in that article with Superhuman. And I was like, great, what do we do from here? And in the article, they explain like, okay, but you need to segment. And this is like a marketing thing, right? You always need to segment.